Now, to give some motivation to the team that is going to be conducting the workshop, I'd like to please request His Excellency Mr. Madhav Prasad Ghimire to say a few words.
Mrs. Chairperson, Professor Jivraj Pokhriyal, Vice Chancellor, Nepal Academy for Science and Technology, Chief Guest, former Prime Minister, Honorable G.N. Khanal, distinguished representatives from India and also from Malaysia, Dr. Sriram Gemali, Chairman LARC Nepal, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, distinguished participants, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. On the backdrop of urgent need for better reconstruction of millions of houses and the structures which were destructed or damaged during the April 2015 devastating earthquake and its aftershocks, I am very much pleased to be a part of this extraordinary workshop on lightning protection, grounding, and warning of electric systems and structures. And perhaps to all of you, similar interest and curiosity abound in this moment as well. Looking at the galaxy of faces of the scientists, experts and professionals around, and also given the very technical nature of the topic itself, I should not hesitate to admit that it will be rather strenuous for me to express in a very succinct way on the topic itself, which is very technical, and I'm not a technical person. Nevertheless, I'll try to just share with you some of the common policy senses, which I think would be very important for all of us. We mostly talk and also get to know about so many of natural and other disasters nowadays. For example, earthquakes, the flood, landslides, human settlement and forest fires, glacier lake outbursts, drought, epidemics, and so on. But we hardly care about the lightning and the thunderstorm, which may wreak havoc and damage in an unimaginable magnitude that many of us are not prepared to handle so far. Lightning, as our chief guest was also lightning just before the beginning of this ceremony. Sometimes it is so auspicious, over 100 million volts of electricity. I think that is enough power to rip through a roof, explode walls of bricks and concrete, and ignite fires. While it is not always possible to foresee the potential scope of a lightning or pinpoint a strike, there are of course some steps to take to minimize the damage of lightning. I'm not going to narrate you all the sophisticated and technical dimensions of protections from lightning, which is sometimes beyond my capacity as well, but which I'm sure you all will be discussing in technical sessions of today and tomorrow. And nevertheless, I would like to share with you some basic ideas which comes out of my common policy sense. First, we need to raise, as many of the speakers already have touched upon this subject, that is the mass awareness raising of the disasters out of the lightning and the thunderstorm. According to available information, lightning and thunderstorm related disasters has taken lives of more than 100 persons every year nationwide in Nepal as well. What is unique about lightning is it does not discriminate according to regions of the country, like other natural disasters. Any areas are susceptible to lightning strikes. Keeping this in mind and recognizing the impact of lightning hazards, the first step is to promote the lightning safety awareness and education. Could be in the schools, in curriculums, through trainings, and also in many ways in preventing damage. Second, for all of us who do not want to take a chance against the odds of lightning striking our houses or the settlements, installation of lightning protection system, which our experts always advise to all of us, is a viable idea, of course. Theoretically speaking, a professionally installed lightning protection system works to channel lightning's energy and provide a safe electrical path for it into the earth, theoretically. But the question before us is, how would it come to practice? Who is responsible for this? And what are the immediate needs? And also, how can this be addressed? Surely, the primary responsibility lies with the government. We as conscious citizens and the professionals of the country are also equally responsible in many ways through our innovative policy inputs to the government, as executives in constructions or implementation of the various projects and programs, by advocating the lightning hazards and its mitigating measures in our society, as an individual house owner as well. I mean, we are the investors and we are the seekers of the safety of our lives. And as a planner or designer of the structures and so on. The government of Nepal has already adopted disaster risk reduction strategies and disaster response framework with a view to be more effective and protective in preparedness, the prevention, search, rescue, rehabilitation, and recovery. But with no specific measures in lightning-related disasters can be found in these frameworks. To some extent, I think, Honorable former Prime Minister is also with us, and I was also Home Minister, but we couldn't really address this issue in a very specific manner, even we were in the government. So I think, we must admit on that. So consequently, what happens? Our approach tends to be more reactive rather than being more proactive and preventive. So this demands, that is very obvious, the government should mainstream lightning protection system in its policy, strategies, and framework in a very distinct and clear manner. The government is also expected to launch massive awareness program down to the community level, perhaps in collaborations with the institutions working in this field like yours, the community organizations, and with wider society. It is also equally necessary to come up with appropriate building codes, safety requirements, and insurance policies, of course. The research on appropriate technology, the affordable solutions, and the access to lightning protection system are still critical areas where the professional and the scientists like you and the other stakeholders have to collaborate. Then only the lightning protection system would be available to the commoners in the far from remote villages, in poor settlements, and all across the sectors of development. Having said that, let me come to the main point of today's workshop. Let me share with you how lightning protections could be more relevant in the context of ongoing reconstruction of residential and government buildings, heritage sites, schools, health posts, and other structures. As we move towards reconstruction and nation building, and to recover ourselves from the rubbles of the catastrophic earthquake, we expect our buildings become better than before and resilient for any types of disasters in future. I think these are the two most critical aspects of the reconstruction. Including, okay, then how we plan and how we design and support reconstructions of all these residential and government buildings, heritage sites, schools, health posts, and so on will surely determine our destiny in view of the disasters and hazards we may face in the future. I may not be able to capture all the details of the good stuffs for which the National Reconstruction Authority deserves appreciation in such a brief inaugural ceremony of this nature. However, I would like to flag out the need for inbuilt mechanism for lightning protection system in the reconstruction process itself. I would like to draw the attention of the government, and I don't know whether there is anyone from the National Reconstruction Authority or not, but I'd like to draw the attention of the National Reconstruction Authority of Nepal in this regard. Now, I would like to turn to the organizers, the experts, the scientists, and the participants in this hall. How you all are prepared to answer all the remaining questions that I have posed above. While emphasizing the role of government, I think we have to be mindful that the government and the National Reconstruction Authority would be highly benefited if we come up with some practical ideas as well as guidance through this workshop on the following matter. 1, being mindful of the economic package announced to each individual household for reconstruction, which is 2 plus 300,000 Nepalese rupees, how much could be spent for lightning protection vis-a-vis the other competing demands of these households? This clearly demands the most economical, the affordable, and appropriate lightning protection technology to be developed. Secondly, can we persuade our government, or let's say the National Reconstruction Authority, for piloting in its village or in some clusters with some demonstrations and encourage households for such systems? This may help people to know more about its technicalities, which is very unknown to all of us, and also would be able to really demonstrate the benefits. Third, could there be any innovative instruments like house insurance scheme for lightning protection system in case of disasters of this type? Many of us today, even today, we have insurance policy of our house. Do we care about the lightning disasters are included in our insurance scheme or not? I mean, these are some of the common things, and perhaps it has to be really dealt in detail with the government policy and also to some extent from ourselves as well. And last and not the least, if not at individual level, can we make lightning protection system mandatory for heritage sites, the vital installations, or to the government buildings? So this clearly demands sequencing and prioritizing exercise, which I expect from this workshop. And that could be really given to the government as recommendations or suggestions. So I believe that your in-depth knowledge and your long experience would be really helpful to make this workshop a great success. I'd like to thank Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, Cape Electric and Lightning and Atmospheric Research Nepal, and more particularly to scientist Dr. Sriram Gumali for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I wish this workshop a great success, and I thank you all. Thank you.